Fallout New Vegas has a wide arsenal of weapons, just counting on the gun scheduler. There are revolvers, shotguns, rifles, SMGs, and the common pistol. While all of these weapons have their attributes, what if you chose to dedicate your allegiance to a single one? Can you beat Fallout New Vegas with only the 9mm pistol? I woke up, learned the Spanish language, and named myself Nina Nueve to make it easier for the townsfolk to roll out my name properly. I put 2 points in the strength because that's all the weapon needs, 3 in perception, charisma got nothing like usual, and spread the remaining points pretty evenly. I did put 10 in agility for the faster reload and higher gun stat, and 9 in resistance so that I would be safe throughout the journey. For some odd reason, I managed to sit taller than Doc Mitchell during the interview, picked guns, speech, and barter as my tag skills, and good-natured and built to destroy as my traits. Now that the character creation part is done, it's time that we discuss about the central core of the challenge. Fallout New Vegas has this system that some would call progression of inventory. When starting the game, you have a pretty weak set of equipment, but as you go along, you find better armors, weapons, and supplies. New Vegas goes by the same analogy, as some weapons only start appearing on enemies and vendors when you reach a certain level. The idea here is to progress through the game without leveling up the most important part of your equipment. Back in the saddle, I did the standard Good Springs routine. Shoot bottle, help Ringo, kill blues, vilified, idolized. I leveled up, got the Black Widow perk. It's a surprise tool that will help us later. Tried to open the save in Good Springs, home for regular children, but the hacking minigame got on my nerves like it always does, and headed to Prim. From the moment I came up with this playthrough, I decided I would be siding with the NCR, because the 9mm pistol is a standard issue sidearm among their forces, but also because they're hopeless. They keep losing to miserable bands of drug addicts and delinquents, yet here you have Nina Nueve strolling merrily across the Mojave, taking them down in 1 to 2 shots. I spoke with Johnson Nash, entered the Bison Steve, had my first interesting fight, and helped Deputy Beagle by untying him, then killing him. Don't act surprised or shocked, he ends up getting fired if you let him live, so I chose the better option for him. I informed the bad news to Johnson Nash, who asked me to find a new sheriff for the town. I spoke with Lieutenant Hayes, but he once again gave me that bullshit about not having enough resources. Dude, pistol. He commended me to head to Mojave Outpost. On my way there, I encountered some Jackal gang members in an abandoned police station. They were as hard to beat as the convicts, which is to say, extremely fucking easy. Here, I made 2 impressive discoveries. The first is that you can kill mantis nymphs just by stepping on them. And the second is that if I break down 357 Magnum rounds, I can use their components to make 9mm rounds. I arrived at the outpost, took a screenshot for my beautiful video game images calendar, and got to work helping the folks around. I returned to Prim to inform Lieutenant Hayes that more of their good-for-nothing friends would come to help. On my way to Nipton, I found 2 ugly-looking guys who suddenly came up to me. I rejected them by saying I don't want it to be friends, which didn't hurt as bad as me lodging 9mm of lead into their cerebrums. Then came the Legion. The moment I saw the furry come out was the moment I decided they had to die. And die they did, but not without a fight. The Legion proved themselves to be some pretty tough motherfuckers. It took me a good amount of time, stimpaks, and ammo to make the streets of Nipton match the outfit color. In the end, I got a hat that's worth about $9.72. Also, here's a tip for you New Vegas players. Left the Nipton Town Hall is a house with 4 dead NCR troopers. From their dead bodies, you can loot a few sets of NCR armor to easily gain access to the Camp McCarran monorail. I met a cripple who told me that some of his friends had gotten kidnapped. I told him I would find them and completely forgot about it afterwards. Once I got done with the outpost, my next destination was Nolak. I speed ran this part of the quest by just going to Manny's terminal, so to compensate, I bought some stuff at the dino shop, and headed east to rid Nelson of his larper problem. It was easy. The reason the Legion can be so problematic to fight is because they attack you in groups, making it hard on who to focus your aim. I put down the troopers like the good soldier that I am. That C went from living to dead. C, and completed the mission. I went back to Novak to talk to Ranger Andy and headed off to Helios 1 to do some more work, because like I said, the NCR is hopeless. While I was fetching some solar panels that I could use for later, I got a Malcolm Holmes jump scare. I punished them for sneaking up on people without their consent and trespassing on NCR territory, somehow sneaking past Lieutenant Haggerty and the soldiers. At this point, I'm going to have to keep track of the fuck-ups this faction makes. Helios 1 was too many bullets and not enough robots. The solar panels gave me their energy and completed the That Lucky Old Sun quest. I returned to Novak and got a face full of NCR Ranger. Then, when I arrived at Ranger Base Charlie, came my second battle with the Legion. This was hard. The Legion used their classic tactic of attacking in groups, as well as having high-level armor. Couple that with the fact that we were in an enclosed space. I was constantly injecting stimpaks into my bloodstream. In the middle of the battle, I came up with two ideas. The first was to use armor-piercing rounds, which did more damage if the enemy were even a cushion for defense, and the second might cause some debate among you. I actually used the NCR emergency radio. Some of you might say I cheated by using an item that lets me get outside help, but by the time the ranger arrived, there was really only one guy left to take care of. After getting done with the Legion assassins, I entered the base, where it was all good. Then Ranger Andy gave me a paper. I returned to the base, and everything wasn't good. For them at least. I got a cool Ranger control armor out of their bodies. While heading to Boulder City, I got a rare glimpse of the lonesome drifter trying his best at moonwalking. But before Boulder City, I decided to stop at the 188 trading post, where I got my first modification for the 9mm pistol. A scope, which allows me to be more precise with the pistol. I shot Memorial, then the angsty teenager of a soldier, took the guns head on, set off for Vegas, and my game crashed. This time I decided to actually be stealthy, shot the guns dead, then Jessup, then my game which crashed. Again. Third time's the charm, same procedure as before, except my game didn't crash. On my way, I discovered Camp Golf and got my third surprise tool later. There's nothing interesting about the trip to McCarran. I was denied access to the monorail. Not a problem, since I got a solution. I spoke with Colonel Shu about the fact that there was a spy in the base. After solving the double agent problem at McCarran, I took the monorail to New Vegas, where the story starts to get moving. I went to talk to Mr. House about his plans. Ignored them, got a letter by Ambassador Denzel Crocker, spoke with him about fairies and boomers, and began the first part of the NCR questline. Before that, I went to the gunrunners to get some ammo to shoot, and some ammo to turn into shooting ammo. On my way to Nellis, I encountered George, played the bet game, forgot about George like the slaves, and got to work, helping the boomers with their tasks. The same ants from the family in the bridge underpass experienced pain like no other when I played Indian Love Call in the speakers. I tried to fix the solar panels, forgot about one, so I went back to Helios 1 and fixed the last solar panel. It wasn't infuriating, just mildly inconvenient. Finally, I helped Jack fill a void in his heart, not through uniting him with his loved one, but with scrap metal, a resource that is really useful in the wasteland. My last mission is to lift a plane from the bottom of Lake Mead. Doing it wasn't the hard part, getting there was. I had my third run with the Legion. This time they were better equipped, so I called an NCR trooper to help me deal with them. He was pretty helpful. What he wasn't helpful with was the death claws on the road, which killed me in almost no time. Going back to before tragedy struck, I went to Camp Golf to take the long road to the sunken bomber. I lifted the plane to the top and completed the boomer's quests. I went back to the NCR embassy to inform Ambassador Crocker of my success. He congratulated me and told me to report for my next mission when ready. Next in my list of errands was getting to Benny for trying to damage my beautiful forehead. I put the most appropriate attire for the occasion and had some intimate action with Benny. I let him put my hands all over my neck, and in exchange, he let me do the same to him, as hard as I wanted to. I may have gotten a bit carried away because he wasn't breathing by the time our little playtime session under the rugs ended, but out of it what I got was the unique version of the 9mm pistol Maria. It does more damage, double critical chance, is more durable, and has less spread than its normal counterpart. As for when I decided to use it, I decided to just use it on special occasions. Also, the Gunrunner's Vendortron had the extended magazine upgrade, so I made sure to pick that up along with some ammo. My next task was to solve a little feud between the gangs and NCR citizens. The culprit behind all these targeted attacks was Pacer, the king's right hand. I knew I couldn't just kill Pacer with my gun, and I didn't want to do the king's quest, so I turned his simple baby trucks into speedballs. He died the famous celebrity way, and just like that, all problems in Freeside were solved. My next task was to head to Hoover Dam, where I met Colonel Cassandra Moore. This next task was a simple one. Exterminate the Great Khans. Spoiler alert, You know the saying, easier said than done? For this occasion, it was easy said and done. On my way to Red Lock, I passed by the Vegas clinic to get an endurance implant, and finally raised my endurance stat to 10. Now came the time to deal with the Great Khans. My plan was simple. Disguise myself as a Great Khan, infiltrate Red Lock, and then, when no one was looking, put my Ranger Patrol outfit and lay waste to this tribe of degenerates. The fight in the big blue house was pretty one-sided, mostly because of the fact that by this point I had cons at 100 and plenty of stim packs. For a moment, I started to feel like maybe I was doing something wrong, that maybe I could load a previous save and attempt a more peaceful approach, giving the cons another chance in life, after years of being kicked around by the faction I swore allegiance to. Then I encountered quote-unquote flower in a laboratory and my mind was cleared. With another tribe down, next came the Omertas, who were reported to be doing some pretty shady things. I tried to talk to Cucino, but he told me to piss off. I stole his diary and blackmailed him, threatening to reveal his dark secret that he actually liked Boku no Pico. Then again, it's the Omertas of Gamora. Should you expect them to have socially acceptable fetishes? I spoke with Troik, led at the basement with metal-hungry termites, had a civilized conversation with the bosses, and prevented a future terrorist attack against the embassy. More bad news had come from the strip, as it was reported Mr. House had been planning to play us like a damn pedo. I punished him by disconnecting the Wi-Fi signal, forcing him to go outside and meet real people. He didn't do that. He stayed in his place like a child not wanting to go to the dentist. Before the president arrived for his speech, there was one more issue to solve, the Brotherhood of Steel. They are one of the NCR's most problematic enemies, and as the saying goes, the enemy of my friend is my enemy. I repaired some stuff back at the outpost and headed towards Hidden Valley. Well, first I went to the correctional facility to exterminate the powder gangers that were such a nuisance to the NCR. They tried their best, but their best was not enough, and soon their blue jackets were turned purple mixed with their leaking blood. The Brotherhood bunker wasn't hard. There were these guys who told me to strip, so I complied with their request. I met with the Brotherhood elder, shooed away a friendly neighborhood ranger, got freed from my slave status, took the 3 keycards with heads as my payment for my striptease session, and destroyed the bunker of Steel's Brotherhood. Wait, I got that wrong. Back at the dam, I got word that the class president was going to give a speech to incentivize students to study for the upcoming test, but some bullies wanted to play pranks on him and make it look really embarrassing. That wasn't a problem, as I quickly took care of all the pranksters in the vicinity, and the president managed to escape without a single humiliation on stage. Lastly, news came that the Legion was going to attack with everything they had, but before going, I had some stuff to do. I bought some ammo for the upcoming battle, told Veronica the news that I destroyed her house as well as our family and everyone she knew. She took it really well, and began the second battle for Hoover Dam. The battle started off pretty normal, just trying to shoot my enemies, then all of a sudden this guy gets in my way while trying to escape. I decided to start using Maria, who did wonders turning the Legion into real versions of themselves. While the Legion was still attacking in numbers, Hoover Dam was more spacious than any interior I had been in. I heard that you can kill a lot of Legion soldiers by flushing the toilets, so I went down, thinking that I could get to the bathroom. I didn't. Fought my way through the top and reached the Legate's camp. This was the hardest fight of the run. Not only was the Legion attacking in groups, there was also the Legate and the Praetorians who kept crippling my head and bullying me around the small arena. But thankfully, through a series of lucky dodges, lucky shots, and an addiction to turbo, I managed to survive the final battle. Wore the Legate's head as a prize, the general came to thank me for doing all the work, and beat Fallout New Vegas with only the 9mm pistol.